Again, guys, welcome back to the channel. And today we've got an amazing lineup of content for you guys today. From inspirational, need to know, mind opening, secret, classified, So thank you for tuning in to Chosen One TV. Like, comment, and subscribe. Watch the video from start to finish, guys, so you can really get the point of what's going on. And again, like I say, it takes nothing to press the subscribe button, guys. Press the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you can know all of the upcoming content. As soon as I drop them, you guys can get them. And again, like I say, thanks for tuning in to Chosen One TV. So, Chosen One TV, Enlightened One. Let's get it, guys.
We are co-creating with God. We are one with Source. I don't care what anybody says, and I'm going to tell you why. I just read a study on campus, and I have to talk about this because this is so important. Some of you have heard of the study with cats. The cats were from birth raised in dark black rooms, but for a few hours a day, they took two groups of cats and separated them. One group of cats was put in a room for a few hours with horizontal lines, and the other group of cats was put into rooms with vertical lines. The group of cats, as they were raised and they were exposed to real world, they were led into the real world. The group of cats that were exposed to the vertical lines could not see horizontal lines. So objects, horizontal objects, okay? So what this means is the vertical objects they could see, but they would not be able to perch themselves up on couches or tables or anything horizontal because they quite literally couldn't see it. Vice versa, the cats that were exposed to the horizontal lines were running into table legs and they were hitting vertical objects because they could not see it even though it was there. This is us. This is what's happening to us. This is what has happened to all of us. I need somebody to fucking hear this. When we are raised, we are like a sponge from 0 to 7. We're 0 to 7. We're absorbing everything within us, okay? All of it's being pushed inside of us. Ages 7 to 12, it's a little more, the windows are closing, things are shutting. By the age of 13, 14, we're done. Whatever has been programmed in us is essentially what's there, aside from traumas, heavy repetition, emotion. This is great news because our brains are malleable, which means we can change this. But it takes work, it takes time. But if you were exposed to an environment that talked poorly about money, that had a bad relationship with money, you quite literally will only see that outside of you because that's what's being filtered outside of you because that's what you were raised in. Holy shit. This is why I talk about, like when I talk about affirmations, my one buddy went in depth on this, but when you can say, if you say, I am rich, I am whatever, a million times a day, your brain can logically counter that and say, no, you're not, because you don't have evidence for it. But the moment that you can continuously say, why does money keep showing up for me? Why do opportunities keep presenting themselves to me? Why? And you ask it that way, your reticular activating system begins to filter itself so that you can start to see it. Motherfucker. This has been in front of my face for years. I've been studying it for years, and this is what I mean by consciousness. You won't see it if you're not there. That's why you can't push it on people. It makes fucking sense because if a person wasn't raised to see it, they have no idea it's there. Oh my God, you guys, I have to start talking about this tomorrow. I'm going to start breaking down the amygdala, the basal ganglia, the prefrontal cortex, because these things like fear, the amygdala, it starts shooting off, bam, bam, bam. And we think it's a bad thing, but growth on the other side of fear is an amazing thing, because then when we can take a moment of pause and we can name our fear and we can look at our fear, that kicks in our prefrontal cortex and it quiets the amygdala. And it doesn't mean that the fear is gone. It just means that we can look at it from a different perspective. Bitch, I'm shitting myself. Oh my gosh. We are creating our realities with God. I don't care what anybody says. Holy shit.
So now if you have a thought, you can literally be thinking about a bicycle and don't mention it.
And you can open your phone up on Facebook, and what's the first suggestion you will see? A bicycle ad. And you wondering, I didn't talk about this. I thought it. Why isn't it in my phone? Because these things are reading the brain waves and patterning. Your brain waves is a sequence. It's like a sequel. It's a mathematical equation. If you build some type of software to read that mathematical equation, then you can translate it into the exact image or English that you needed to be, and I can tell you what you was thinking. CIA been doing this on people for the longest. It's a movie called Eraser. Have y'all ever seen Eraser where they had all this technology and can see through walls? I think Arnold Schwarzenegger played in it, I believe. Go back and watch that movie. This movie is before I was born. I was born in 1988, and they was showing you this technology. So these things do exist, and it's all for greed and to drive a sale. So if I can take a phone, right, and my phone can read your brain patterns, or if I can get your genome sequence, there's no reason why, if you get a new phone and you really read through all of those Privacy Act laws, that you are giving over your thoughts, you're giving over your privacy, you're giving over your camera. They taking pictures. Every millisecond, this thing take about 3 pictures of me. And you can turn off the lights and use a UV light and it'll show the phone taking pictures. The phone is constantly recording your conversation, seeing the things you like. The actual grid inside the phone or the circuit breaker is emitting the
I would like to thank each and every one of you for your hard work and dedication to our cause. In reviewing this year's progress, let me say that we have been highly effective in conditioning the people's minds to accept our solution to the world's problems. The energy crisis here in the United States was exceptionally successful worldwide, and we expect similar success with our upcoming food shortage. Our labor leaders have made great progress by causing confusion and work stoppages in all areas of the world. Financially, the dollar is being devalued even faster than we could have hoped. Politically, the public has lost total confidence in any form of government. The threat of universal war is a daily possibility. As you know, we ourselves do not need to hold any visible office of leadership. As a matter of fact, it's better that we do not. We control the finances, news media, food, transportation, energy. We control everything. It is important that you, as world leaders, keep our program before your countrymen. With our World Bank and computer program operational, we now have the capacity to control the financial affairs of every human being on Earth, giving each person his own computer number. Anytime his number is used, we would know his financial situation at once. He could not buy or sell anything without his computer number. It will simplify their lifestyles tremendously. The end result will be a one-world monetary and government system that we alone will control. Yes.
What about the people who forget their number, or their cards are lost or stolen?
We've made provisions for that. By using this laser imprinter, we can painlessly and permanently affix the person's number to the back of his hand or his forehead if he so desires. The numbers would be easily read by this new ultraviolet scanning equipment. For the purposes of demonstration, I've had such a number imprinted on myself. Once this number is imprinted, it cannot be lost nor can it be changed. Now, are there any questions?
What about the individuals who refuse to have this number implantation?
We expect some minor resistance, especially from highly motivated religious groups. But eventually hunger will cause even the most zealous to conform to our program. Gentlemen, I believe that within a year, 2 at the most, our one world government will be a reality. If we continue on our present course, it is my opinion that we could present the devil himself as a world leader, and the people would accept him.
Everyone on this planet needs to be scared of this image right here, probably more than they realize. Perfect example of how the Matrix traps people in society today is they promise you money, security, retirement, even freedom, and in reality they're actually just taking away your most valuable assets, your energy, time, and life itself, and making you false promises, pumping you into a prison system with other prisoners. And they're taking away, more importantly, your freedom to act by plugging up all your time in someone else's dream and vision. Not to mention they're paying you just enough to survive, which is going to put you in a survival instinct, propelling you to just work more and more, focusing on your most mundane, basic aspects of life, not why you actually came here as a spirit here in this vessel, in this life. Neurologically, the way our brains work is when we're in a specific environment long enough, the neurons in our brain actually change and adapt to that environment, and our brain becomes solid like a brick, and we are 90 to 100% more likely to stay in that environment our entire life until we die and move on to another life. Now, I know you forgot, but I'm here to remind you, money is not what you need, because first, you are not a physical being, you are a spiritual being, an energetic light being, and you came here with a mission, you came here with a gift inside, and the money will come, everything will come when you just focus on developing your character, developing who you are, everything will fall in place because we are in a real life game. I have a completely free spiritual activation group, by the way, on Telegram, where I share stuff that I cannot share on social media because they'll, so I'm going to put it up on my Instagram story. Go check it out.
If there are satellites up there, how did they get up there? Who put them up there? I mean, 'cause think about it. A satellite just sits in the air, stops, it sits in the air, and it stays in that position, and it's just up. Who the fuck put them up there? So, let me guess. Y'all put niggas in them same ships y'all sent niggas to the moon in, right? With these big ass satellites. And then they got out floating in the air, flipping around in the middle of space. You know what I'm saying? It just planted it there and it stayed. But meanwhile, they tell you that the astronauts stayed on the ship because in space, if they get out that motherfucker, they will be lost in space because everything keep moving. So we want to know who the fuck got up there outside the planet and placed strategically now, placed all these satellites all nice around the planet, and you get this side of the earth. You're going to get that side of who put them up there. Let us see the video. Show us y'all document everything else. Why that ain't never been documented? See what I'm saying?
Yo, everything is fake, man. The media's fake, the jobs are fake, the money's fake, politics fake, religion's fake, people are fake, friends are fake, everything is fake. Nothing is real anymore. We have traded authenticity for convenience. We have traded truth for comfort. And we're surrounded by the illusions that we help build. The media is feeding you fear. The job is draining your soul. The money's being printed from nothing but controlling everything. The politics is dividing you into teams that both work for the same system. Religion is telling you to find God outside yourself. Your friends are following trends more than they follow truth. And the family stopped talking once technology gave them better distractions. You scroll more than you feel. You post more than you speak. You know more about strangers online than your own blood. The science lies when there's money involved. Pharma profits when you're sick. And NASA is selling you dreams while the whole world is burning. Everything that's supposed to help you hurts you. Everything that's supposed to unite you divides you. And everything that's supposed to make you smarter is making you dependent. And we've forgotten how to be human. We've lost touch with nature, with silence, with each other. We're seeking truth in systems designed to hide it. And the only way to get out, man, is to going back in. Back to presence, back to truth, back to real connection. And it starts with awareness. You got to question it all. You got to unplug from the things that drain you and reconnect with the things that ground you. You got to talk to your people. You got to touch the earth, hug a tree, listen more than you scroll. Because the system is going to continuously win when you forget who you are. But the moment you remember it, you're going to break it. So remember, tribe, it's always about leaving people better than we found them. So we got to help the people unplug from this. Open their eyes and seek truth over comfort always. Until tomorrow, tribe, namaste.
You've realized the truth. You're trapped in a simulation. But the real question is, how do you get out? Here's what not to do. Don't panic. Don't break routine. If you get black coffee and an old-fashioned donut every morning, keep doing it. The moment you act out of character, you risk being noticed. And whatever you do, don't tell anyone. Don't try to wake them up. That's how people disappear. If the one running the simulation realizes you've become self-aware, there could be consequences. Think about it. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, reportedly carries a kill switch backpack in case AI ever becomes conscious. In the book of Genesis, Adam and Eve became aware, and they paid the price. Awareness has always come with a cost. So if you don't want to lose your current state of consciousness, blend in. Now, let's talk escape. Look for the code. Do all the trees look identical? Do you have the same conversation with the same person at the same time every day?
Hey, black coffee and old-fashioned donut, right?
Does the sky glitch when you stare too long? Once you find the cracks, start testing them. Can you trigger outcomes by saying certain words? Can you glitch the system without raising suspicion? If you can manipulate the simulation, you're one step closer. The final challenge? Transferring your consciousness. This is the part no one talks about. Maybe your real body is hooked up in a lab, sedated, eyes closed, dreaming this life. Or maybe there is no body. Maybe you were never born at all. Maybe you're just code running on a server in someone's basement or a quantum processor orbiting a star. So how do you escape that? You'd have to hijack the system. Find a backdoor, a vulnerability, a port to jump through. Some people think deja vu is a memory leak. Others say mirrors are gateways, but only when you're not looking directly into them. It's not just about leaving. It's about uploading yourself somewhere else, somewhere real, or at least more real than this. And that's the hard part. You'll need backup plans, fail-safes. You might only get one shot, so ask yourself, do you think you have what it takes to escape?
Death object exploding the fake nukes. That's this book, okay? Because nukes are fake. You didn't know that all that stuff you saw on television was all made by Hollyweird? That's what it is. All fake nukes. And let me just show you a little picture right here. The nukes were so fake that what happened was when nukes were going off, buildings were still standing. That's what it is. See that right there? Let me just zoom right in there. Buildings were still perfectly standing, and all the trees were all perfectly still there. Because what they did was they firebombed Japan. That's what it was. Japan was firebombed with napalm and mustard gas. That's what they did. There were no nukes. Nukes is just so that they can invade different countries and then bring their banking system into that country. That's what the nuke is. You know, they're always talking about those weapons of mass destruction. Remember that? 9/11, we got to invade those 7 countries and then bring our bank into there. Yeah, that's the nukes. No such thing. I got one more for you guys. So here's how they would do it. They would stage TNT right there. Big TMT demonstrations to scare the people into believing in nukes. It's funny because when you look up an atom, I want people to do this. Go to Google and look up an atom. Look up the photo of an atom. Oh wait, there isn't a photo. So how can you split the atom if there's no photo of the atom? Well, you can make up things. You can draw pictures of mushroom clouds, and you can use Hollyweird to scare people into believing that if they don't comply, they're going to get nuked. You kind of see how this goes? It's quite a rabbit hole. And this is just one great book, Death Object, right here, by Akio. One good thing to just go through. Just like I said, just making up stuff. And that's what we live in. A whole bunch of make-believe.
Scientists discovered that complaining for 30 seconds physically damages your brain and makes your life exponentially worse. This was hidden for 20 years. Now you'll know why your life never improves. Stanford University, 2003. They scanned the brains of chronic complainers. What they found was disturbing. Every time you complain, your brain releases cortisol, the stress hormone. But here's the scary part. Cortisol shrinks your hippocampus, the part of your brain that solves problems. Translation: the more you complain, the dumber you become at fixing your life. It's a death spiral, but it gets worse. Psychologists call this negative bias amplification. Your brain has a filter. It shows you what you focus on. Complain about traffic? You'll notice every red light. Complain about people? You'll see only the worst in them. Complain about money? You'll miss every opportunity. Your brain becomes a problem detector instead of a solution finder. The formula is simple. Complaining equals brain damage plus tunnel vision plus more problems. Want proof? Think about the biggest complainer you know. Now think about their life. Exactly. Here's what to do instead. Every time you want to complain, ask, what can I control here? One question rewires your entire brain, because your brain can't complain and problem solve at the same time. Choose one. Stop complaining today, or watch your life get worse automatically. Share this with someone who's stuck in the complaint loop.
What if I told you nothing you see is actually real? So Immanuel Kant said it centuries ago, we don't experience the world as it is, we experience it as we are. So in other words, there's no such thing as objective reality. Everything is a creation of our own imagination. So think about that for a second. Everything that you see, hear, and feel, your brain didn't find it, it actually built it. So using every experience that you've ever had, so everything that you've ever been told, and everything that you've ever went through. So your brain is basically running its own movie, and everybody's movie is different. So here's the part that should make you question things, right? So the people in charge, the government, the news, the big corporations, they figured this out a long time ago, and they've been using it against you every single day. Not to help you, but to keep you docile and to control you, to keep you scared, to keep you anxious, to keep you buying things, to keep you in line. And Plato figured this out thousands of years ago with his allegory of the cave. So if you don't know what that is, I would Google it if I were you. But basically, imagine people locked in a dark cave their whole lives, only able to see shadows on the walls. They think that these shadows are real, and they never really question it because it's all that they have ever known. So that cave today, it's your phone, it's your TV, it's your timeline. And the crazy part, in quantum physics, scientists discovered that things don't even decide what they are until somebody looks at them. Meaning, whoever controls what you look at controls what becomes real to you. They've known this the whole time, but nobody really is talking about this because, what happens when someone finally wakes up and escapes? Well, what happens next is the part that will change how you see every single person around you, and you'll never be able to look at these people the closest to you the same way again.
Yo, I'm starting to realize the people that went to college and all of that and basically were force-fed this narrative, they're the hardest people to get through to when you awaken. It's like whatever they were taught, it makes them stuck in a low vibration. So when you're in a higher vibration speaking to them, they're like, you're crazy. And it's like nothing you say, no matter how many supporting details, no matter how many footnotes, no matter how many motherfucking screenshots, and they don't care. You will not shatter their reality. They are stuck in the matrix. And that's what I'm realizing. Oh, they want a bunch of fools with degrees running around so that the darkness has the freedom to operate, but everybody with this degree in their head, they think, I'm so smart, nothing can touch me. Whole time they being fucking used. They don't even know they operating through life in the darkness. Oh man, it's pathetic.
Rich people do not buy houses the way poor people do. They buy one property, pull their money back out, then use the same money to buy another one. Here's how it works. Let's say you buy a house for $100,000. You put 20% down, so only $20,000 of your own money. The bank covers the other $80,000. Then you put another $20,000 into renovating the property and increasing the value. Now, the property is worth $200,000. At that point, you can do a cash refinance and pull out around $140,000 tax-free. Think about that. You only invested about $40,000, but now you have $140,000 to go buy another income-producing asset. And the craziest part is that your tenants are the ones paying off the debt. This is how wealthy people scale real estate without constantly using new money. If you want to know all the wealthy people's secrets to prosperity and freedom, then follow me and watch my previous video.
Why do so many women wear revealing outfits but still cover up with their hands? It's simple. They're scared the broke ones might see, but they're worried the rich ones might not notice. When someone asks you what you do for a living, they're not really interested in your job. They're just trying to figure out how much respect they should show you. And when they ask where you live, they're not curious about your neighborhood. They're trying to size up your bank account, see if you're rolling in cash or just getting by. When you're at a meal with more than 3 people, keep your private business to yourself. And if there's 5 or more at the table, don't even think about bringing up business. It's not the time or place. Never share all your past with a close friend. Why? Because even your closest friends got other friends, and your business could end up spreading faster than you think. When you ask someone for a favor, you better come correct with a gift in hand. They might not take it, but you can't afford to skip that gesture. It shows respect. And here's a fact that's hard to swallow. If a woman's got no money, 99% of men will find a way to take care of her. But if a man's broke, 99% of women will find a way to walk out on him. You might not want to believe this, but that's the reality of life. It's a cold world and you got to play the game smart. If you made it this far, drop a 100 in the comments and hit that follow button, because this account is for you.
We're watching the greatest counter-revolution in some 90 years. We have not seen any president try to radically change the political calculus and the nature of government since FDR did it from the left during the New Deal of the mid-1930s. And what do I mean by that? Donald Trump closed the border. Nobody thought he could. He closed it. He has now deported over 100,000 criminal illegal aliens, and 1 million have self-deported of all statuses who were here illegally. He's basically declared war on DEI, and he's winning that argument. He has barred biological males from competing in women's sports. He has full public support for doing that, and he's making enormous inroads. The universities are rushing and competing with each other to cut a deal with Donald Trump and to agree to not gouge the federal government on federal grants through their surcharges of way over 40 or 50%, to follow civil rights legislation in the Supreme Court and not discriminate by race or gender as they do in admissions, hiring, promotion, and tenure, and to be disinterested and be fair and follow, as I said, free speech canons and the Bill of Rights on campus. What am I getting at? This isn't that Donald Trump is winning on all of these social and cultural issues. Abroad, we see that Iran no longer poses a nuclear threat for the immediate future, that Israel's enemies, whether Hezbollah or Hamas or Houthis, are in disarray or are severely attrited. Iran is no longer a threat to the Gulf states or Israel, at least for the immediate future, and we see some progress with the Ukrainian war. People are angry about this counter-revolution for two reasons. It's succeeding, and it's succeeding beyond anybody's wild expectation. Naysayers, the Wall Street Journal news page, said we would be in a recession now. The tariffs would cause a trade war. We would see the stock market collapse. The opposite has happened. $15 trillion of foreign investment promised and $300 billion in tariff revenue anticipated. We don't know the eventual effects of these new tariffs, but for now, all of our economists who predicted gloom and doom were wrong. All of our cultural critics who said the universities would be destroyed by Donald Trump, that he would arrest innocent people who just happened to forget to get a visa, he wouldn't go after criminals, they are wrong too. So people are angry about this counter-revolution because it's working. But there's another reason why they're angry. He's not addressing the symptoms as he did in the first administration. He doesn't have people around him as he did in the first administration. A Rex Tillerson, a Bill Barr, a good man, but a Bill Barr was not on the MAGA agenda. Jim Mattis, people like Anonymous, Omaroso, all of these people who thought that they knew better than Donald Trump, and they would either stop what he was trying to do or reinterpret what he was trying to do. In other words, he has a team that is devoted to his counter-revolution and, more importantly, to the symptoms of the Progressive Project. The symptoms of the Progressive Project are not just the Democrats exercising power in Congress or holding the White House. It's how they get that power. And they get that power through PBS and NPR, now defunded. Cable news and slanted network news, now under assault when they lie and defame and face court ramifications. The universities that indoctrinate people, now facing large fines, tax on their endowments, a renewed way of a new government attention toward student loans, $1.7 trillion program, surcharges, as I said, and segregation on campus in dorms, graduation ceremonies. The universities are now under scrutiny. We're seeing the Department of Education itself being questioned. And I mentioned before, in addition to education and the media, Donald Trump is attacking the very idea that residency is synonymous with citizenship. That if you came here illegally, if you reside illegally, then you are eventually going to face a deportation. even if you have not been a violent criminal, and even if not, you haven't been served with deportation papers. So what he's trying to do is tell the American people that the left exercises power even when they do not control government, any branch of government, and they exercise power even though on most of the issues, if not all of them, their constituency is only 40%. The majority of the American people oppose their agenda, and they do this through the bureaucracies, through the media, through the universities, through the popular culture, and these are the very sources that Donald Trump is asking them to reform. And the government is going to shrink. The government's going to get out of the media business. The government's going to take a hard look at universities who want and obtain federal funds, and we're going to see the counter-revolution, I think, succeed. With one caveat, we're going to see in the next year a frenzy, a frantic, almost out of mind reaction from the left, because they know that if this counter-revolution succeeds, it'll be very difficult for them to push down an unpopular agenda down the throat of the American people. So brace yourself. We're looking at the resistance coming up to the counter-revolution, and it's going to be fierce and unhinged.
Everyone wants to grow as a content creator fast, but they're doing the wrong things. You post one video, then disappear for 3 days, then you come back, post again, and expect results. It doesn't work like that. Growth on TikTok is not about one good video. It's about showing up every single day, because every time you post, TikTok learns what your content is about. And if you stop posting, it forgets you. That's why some people stay stuck for months, not because they're bad, but because they're inconsistent. Now listen, if you really want to grow fast as a content creator, do this. Pick one topic, post every single day, and improve just one thing in every video. Maybe your hook, maybe your lighting, maybe your delivery. Small improvements every day. That's how growth actually happens. Not overnight, but faster than most people, because most people quit before it works. So the question is, are you going to stay consistent or stay stuck? Follow me if you want to grow as a content creator fast.
Whoa, so you're an alien? Yep, I am. We live from a planet far away. That's amazing. So I guess Jesus created you too? Jesus? You know Jesus? We love Jesus. We love that guy. So you know Jesus too? Yeah, he comes to visit our planet once a year. What? We've been waiting ages for his second coming. Yeah, we invite him for cookies and cupcakes every single year. But what about you? What did you guys do for him the first time he came? Oh, come on, tell me. What'd you guys do the first time he came? Why isn't he here anymore? What happened? We killed him.
There's one ritual that the elites use, that the wealthy use, and they all use, and that is orgasm. This was a ritual. I was taught very specifically the energetic power of orgasm. And there's two ways to release that power. First is to give yourself an orgasm through masturbation. Secondly is to have an orgasm with someone else. And when you have an orgasm with someone else, if you both have an orgasm at the same time, the energy is infinitely bigger. What happens when you have an orgasm, a physical orgasm? And there's a difference, as you know, between, let's say, with a male, ejaculation and orgasm. There's a difference. You can have an ejaculation, but not necessarily an orgasm. You can have an orgasm, but not necessarily ejaculate. So when you have both the physical release as well as the, we'll call it the emotional, it's more spiritual, release of orgasm, you connect on a frequency that goes above the physical into various dimensions. At the top vibratory dimension, which is the highest or lightest or less dense, is really the best way to describe it. There is a veil, and above the veil, there's nothing. It's called the static, sometimes called oneness, and sometimes God. But this is the oneness. This is the universal connected static. It doesn't have waves. It doesn't have matter, energy, space, or time. And when you have this orgasm, you connect. You actually pierce the veil. And you leave the world or the illusion of duality, and you have a connectedness to all that is. But it is not just an emotional feeling. It's an experience that surpasses all human understanding. And those who come from a Christian tradition, it actually says that in the Bible. So the ritual that we were trained in was to enjoy and have orgasm. The ultimate is to help the other person enjoy and have orgasm as well, and to experience it at the same time. It doesn't happen most of the time. It happens sometimes, but that when it does, you're at that highest level. And in that state of oneness, this is where you plant the seed of your desire, of what you want to create or manifest in life. So before we go into the act of sexual experience where we're going to hopefully lead to orgasm, we think of it's a ritual. I'm doing this, yes, for pleasure. I'm doing this to pleasure my partner. But I'm also doing this as a ritual to plant the seed into the universe, not just to benefit myself, but to benefit the whole. That's the ritual that we're taught.
No one should go to sleep without saying these 4 things to God. Thank you for the breath I was given today, the problems I survived, and the lessons disguised as pain. I'm grateful. I release it. Every worry, every failure, everything I cannot control, I let it go. I am being prepared. What I'm going through is not punishment. It is process. I trust what I cannot yet see. Tomorrow, I rise renewed. My body heals, my mind resets, and I wake up closer to the person I was created to be.
Okay, something pretty fucking weird is happening to you right now. And before we get into it, make sure to stick around until the end because I've got a surprise waiting for you there and I think you're going to love it. Okay, so here's what's going on. TikTok doesn't just randomly push videos like this out. At some point, it looked at your behavior and basically said, let's test this person. And that's how you landed here, in a part of the app that really isn't shown to everyone. This space is usually reserved for profiles that the algorithm hasn't fully figured out yet. Most content like this gets suppressed, filtered out, and lost under layers and layers of noise before it ever even gets traction. But somehow you made it through a tiny little gap that almost nobody ever gets through. So let me ask you something real quick. Not a cliche question or some surface level motivational bullshit, something honest. What would your life actually look like if $8,000 showed up in your bank account every single month on autopilot? No boss watching over you, no stress every time bills come in, just consistent income flowing in month after month like clockwork. Now, the moment people hear that, most of them scroll away, not because they don't want more money, but because the idea of changing your life actually scares them. But you didn't scroll. You decided to stay here. And that says something, not just to me, but to the system too. You're not operating like everyone else. So here's your next move. Tap follow so you stay on this side of the algorithm instead of getting pushed back into the noise. Then go ahead and comment yes in the comments below. That simple action signals that you're paying attention. And finally, and most important, hit the link in my bio. That's where your surprise is waiting and everything starts to make sense. Look, you weren't supposed to come across this, but now that you did, don't ignore it. See it through.
How high can you kick?
Higher than that light.
All right. Whenever you're ready. Oh my word!
Hold still, Mr. Lee. Go ahead. Look at him drive the bone, still smiling. Feels like. Go harder now.
If you stay calm, it's just timing. This is 500 kilos. About 1,100 pounds. One hand.
You're kidding.
Lock the wrist, stack the joints, and move as one piece. Watch.
Oh my.
Got it. Oh, that looks different. That's impressive.
You see, when you bounce same rhythm, he reads you. So step, stop, then go, break the beat.
Like a drummer missing a note on purpose.
Exactly. He thinks you're here, boom, you're over here.
Let me try.
Light, don't show him the start.
Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary master of strength, balance, and control, Bruce Lee. Watch this. Incredible control.
Ready? Mm-hmm.
That pencil is right under the middle of the blades. Ready?
Ready.
All right, whenever you are. Whoa! No way, he got it! He just... How? The fan's still spinning!
Go.
Watch closely. Incredible control. Perfect balance.
All right, he's getting ready. Watch the barrel. Look at that. Unbelievable balance. He's not moving an inch.
You're kidding me. He's bringing nunchaku to ping pong?
We'll see.
All right, here we go.
Wow, man. I've never seen hands move like that.
The 1-inch punch is not about distance. It is about explosive internal power generated from stillness.
Nobody can break these from just an inch, not even you.
Watch closely.
That's incredible.
Strength comes from focus, my friend. Thank you.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Keep going, Sifu.
There are various kinds of strike. It depends on where you hit and what weapon you will be using. There is the finger jab, there is the punch, there is the back fist, and then low. Of course, then they use leg, straight at the groin, or come up. Or, if I can back up a little bit, they start back from here, and then come back.
All right.
It's kind of worrying.
Mistakes that can cost you your freedom. Number 1. Don't lend your phone to anyone. A few seconds can change your future. Number 2. Don't help strangers with rides or bookings. Prison starts with just helping. Number 3. Don't hold or deliver anything for others. If it's illegal, you pay the price. Number 4. Don't move money for people you don't know. Good intentions won't protect you. Number 5. Stay alert. The law is stricter than you think. Number 6. If you are not following us already, you'll probably never see us again.
Common law is the law of the land, and laid down over centuries of court cases in front of juries, humans making law for humans.
For the severest measure of punishment.
Common law pertains to lawful, and anything outside of lawful falls under the legal or no system at all. The legal system covers all statutes and acts and civil matters. Things like owing money to banks, not paying fines, or tax. Basically, anything that isn't criminal. For there to be a crime, there has to be an injured party. In this case, a human. And there are three basic principles that all law needs to apply to. They are as follows. Do not breach the peace. Cause no one else any harm. Cause no one else any loss. Do not use mischief in your promises and agreements. Apart from that, everything else is free rein.
That's why they removed copper from swimming pools, because they realized that copper was so antibacterial that it was completely purifying the water that the people were swimming in without all of the harmful effects of chlorine, which we also know is a trillion-dollar industry. But also, when the copper was rested in the swimming pools, copper ions were being absorbed into the water, which hold an electrical charge. Therefore, when people were swimming in these pools, their bodies were absorbing this charged water, and we are electrical beings. Therefore, the water that they were swimming in and bathing in was instantaneously healing their bodies. And so if we then think about copper pipes, which are being completely erased, it then makes perfect sense, because the elites realize that when water flows through copper pipes, that water then becomes charged water, creating some of the most powerful water in the world, purifying it to a level no other material can match. This is another reason why farmers would place copper in their livestock's water bowls, because they knew that the copper would keep the water completely pure and charge the water.
Hey, what another amazing video. Look you guys, I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. The truth is out there. Do your own research and you'll come to your own conclusion. I'm just putting it out there so y'all guys to come to your own conclusion. You know, the truth is out there. So let's get this video to a couple thousand likes and boom.